Welcome back to another torch review. I have the Convoy C8 in for testing. This was supplied via Gearbest for review. There's a lot of models on the C8, so this is one of the most affordable in the range. You get a very basic package with this. There's no manual, just a box and some wrapping. And we'll take a look at the design. We have a contoured bezel at the top. It's a very simple design. It's a bit of a classic among torch lovers. You have the heat sinks, grooves just below the head, and you have a knurled area a bit there for grip. Has to be said, the Convoy is quite a solid torch in the hand. You also have a single button on the base, so you only use that for controlling the light on and off, and you get a wrist strap included. It's slightly coarse, the fabric, but it's better than nothing. It's okay, it does the job. You don't have an adjuster with it. But it's a good torch in the hand, feels very comfortable, and it's well balanced. Moving in a bit closer, we'll unscrew the base. You'll see we have a nice thick silicone ring. It's already pre-greased, and there's the tail switch mechanism and spring. Quite thick aluminium as well, so it's a nice solid built torch. Now, no problems at all with the batteries that I've used, flat or button top. You do have a low power warning. It flashes when the battery voltage is low. You don't get one supplied, so you'll have to get your own one. This is using the XM-L2 U2 LED. There's a lot of variations with the Convoy range, so have a look at that. Now, unscrew the top section. This is a very popular torch for modding as well. It's very easy to mod this torch if you're into that. And pull out the reflector. We have a deep smooth reflector, and there's the LED. Now, that does have a resin coating on the top, but you'll see the soldering's very neat and tidy. With a reflector of this size, you're expecting it to have a bit of throw or range. Operation very straightforward. Just remember, in the low mode you can switch between the two modes. The first gives you access to the 3 power settings, and the second gives you access to the 5, including the strobes. So you see that flash at the lowest level to indicate it's changed. Other than that, you just cycle through with a quick press on the back button. You do have a mode memory too. And this is a quick example of the strobe modes. I'll do some more shots outside on those. Decent torch. The interface works pretty well. Wouldn't have minded if they included some of the instructions just printed on the box. And also pretty stable with the headstand. You can also see if you've left the torch on. And it has an anti-roll design towards the head, so it doesn't roll around too much. So that's a decent design choice. Now, the included strap is okay, but I would move the position to the middle portion so that if you do base or tail stand it, it's much more stable. And despite the enlarged head, it's pretty stable in that position. Doing my normal water resistance test now, never had any problems, and haven't with the Convoy. This worked fine, left it in there for about half an hour. On to the beam shots outside with the C8 at the low mode. And then going up to the medium setting, which is around about 50% of the max output, so around about 500 lumens on this. You'll notice, when I'll kick it into the high, that it has quite a strong beam pattern in the middle. It's quite condensed, although not as much as some torches. You do get a half decent spill off this, particularly at closer ranges. Now, I'm comparing it to the VG15S, and the reason for that is it's a completely different type of reflector. It has a textured reflector, and it's much shallower, therefore gives you much more of a fill effect. So those are the two extremes that you can get. One is for range, and one's more for closer up work. Now, looking at it compared to the U2, which is on the left, you can see that the coating, it doesn't have the coating on the Convoy. You can see the slight purple tint on the U2, perhaps not unexpected. And a size comparison, the U2 is a bit longer and a fair bit thicker. This takes the 26650s, and you also have that micro USB port. Head's also a fair bit larger. So we'll do some shots outside shortly to show you that. Now, one thing that's worth noting is if you want to change the power level, you need to half press the button within a couple of seconds to move through the power settings. Otherwise, it will kick you back to the previous setting, and then you have to press it twice. Just a small point. There's nothing wrong with the interface. It just they don't explain it, so you'll have to figure it out yourself, or rather, I'm telling you. Now, on the wider angle shots, I've got the C8 at a low setting. And now on to the medium. You can see you do get a fairly decent bit of spill at the medium setting. at closer range and onto the high. You have that concentration in the middle, but also fills out fairly well on the sides, albeit it doesn't have the wide angle coverage that some of the orange peel reflectors would have, or the shorter ones. Now onto the U-Torch 2. This is a very popular model. I have the slightly warmer tint version of this torch, and you'll be able to see once I kick it through the power settings that hot spot in the central area, and that is quite a bit intenser than the Convoy, and that explains why you get such a long range off of the U-Torch 2. Now I've got a comparison at the low mode with the C8 on the left and the U-Torch 2 on the right. You'll be able to see, in my opinion, the Convoy is a little bit lower in power. There's not much in it. It's rated at 15 lumens on the U-Torch 2. You can see the difference in the tint, and at close range the beam pattern, you've got that hot spot in the middle, though as I've just shown you, it's not as small as the U-Torch. You still get good range off of this. Onto the beam shot, just pull it back so you can see it when you move back outwards. This is typical for a torch which is designed for throw and range. Now onto the tree test telephoto. You'll be able to see it lights it up very nicely at the high power setting, although you have to move it around a bit more than you would do a wider angle effect on the torch. And again, zoomed in, quite a lot of power concentrated in the central area. Down the side of the house, starting off with the low side, onto the medium setting. I definitely recommend using low to medium at close range, and then if you need that extra boost you can kick it up to the high. Now because this is designed more for range, you can see the tree on the left and also the building there. It's no problem at all lighting that up. So it's not going to have the range of the U-Torch 2, but it's still got plenty of throw for a torch. And another quick shot showing you some distance away over the wall, and I'm lighting up that tree, no problem at all. So decent range on this torch. Just showing you some examples up close. Definitely would kick it down to the low, medium setting maximum. If you're really close to something, you can see it's blowing out on the camera there. It's not quite as intense in person. I just put my hand in the frame just to show you. It's not uncomfortable using it as that power setting up close, but I would definitely consider a different type of torch if you do a lot of up close work in particular. Just showing you the strobe settings now. Rapid fire and the SOS. They're useful to have. I'm glad that you can set the torch so that you don't have to use those modes. You can just use the 3 main power settings. Quick summary on the Convoy C8, very popular torch, and probably for good reason, having used it for a while. This torch is very well designed, good solid build quality on the case, and it's also an enjoyable torch to use. It feels nice in the hand, a good balance, not too big, so it makes quite a nice pocket thrower, something which has a bit of range but isn't too big and bulky. So most areas a very nice torch. A couple of small points. Would have liked perhaps a sticker on the box just to give you some operation guide that would help for new users, and also there isn't a momentary on function which would be useful. But I do like the fact that you can just have the 3 power levels or switch between the 5 modes where you can have the strobe. That's a nice design feature. They've updated that from the older version. So thanks for watching the video. I hope that was of some use to you, and also leave a comment below. Let me know any other torch models that you are interested in me reviewing, and I'll see if I can get hold of those.